You're not broke because you're lazy. You're not broke because you're unlucky. You're broke because no one ever taught you how money actually works. And that's the truth nobody wants to say out loud. Think about it. You went to school for 12 years, maybe college for 4 more. But did anyone ever sit you down and explain why the rich get richer while you're living paycheck to paycheck? No. They taught you history, they taught you algebra, but they never taught you the psychology of money. Here's what they don't tell you. 80% of financial success has nothing to do with knowledge. Morgan Housel, one of the greatest financial writers alive, says it straight. It's not about how smart you are, it's about how you behave. 80% behavior, 20% knowledge. Let that sink in. You could know everything about investing. You could understand compound interest. You could read every finance book ever written and still go broke, because your behavior will destroy everything your knowledge builds. So what's the real difference between the rich and the broke? It's not income. It's not luck. It's not even education. It's mindset. Psychologist Carol Dweck spent decades studying this. She found 2 types of people. The first type has a fixed mindset. They believe they're born a certain way. I'm just bad with money. I'm not a business person. Wealth isn't for people like me. Sound familiar? That voice in your head, that's not wisdom. That's a cage you built yourself. The second type has a growth mindset. They fail and they ask why. They lose money and they study what happened. They see someone succeed, and instead of feeling envy, they feel something different. Curiosity. How did they do that? What did they know that I don't? That single shift in thinking changes everything. Not overnight, but over years. It's the difference between driving a car you can't afford and owning the building you used to work in. Now, let's talk about money itself. Robert Kiyosaki said something that most people hear, but very few actually understand. It's not how much you make, it's where your money goes. Here's a question. Where does your money go every month? Car payment, rent or mortgage, credit card minimum, student loan, subscriptions you forgot you had? Sound familiar? That's called a liability, something that takes money out of your pocket. But here's what the wealthy do differently. They buy assets first, things that put money back in their pocket. Real estate, stocks, businesses. And then, only then, they buy the nice car. They take the vacation. They live the life. The broke and middle class do it backwards. They buy the luxury first, the new car before the investment, the designer outfit before the savings account. Why? Because of something deeper, something psychological. It's called social validation, the desperate need to look successful before actually becoming successful. You're not buying the car because you need it. You're buying it because of how it makes you feel when someone sees you in it. And that feeling, that temporary rush, is costing you your future. Thomas Corley studied wealthy and broke people for 5 straight years. What he found wasn't glamorous. It wasn't private jets. It wasn't secret stock tips. It was habits. Small, boring, daily habits. 88% of wealthy people read for self-improvement at least 30 minutes a day. You know what percentage of broke people do? 2%. 67% of wealthy people write down their goals. Only 17% of broke people do. 76% of wealthy people exercise at least 4 days a week. 44% wake up 3 hours before work starts. Not because they have to, because they know something most people don't. The morning belongs to those who own it. Meanwhile, the average American watches over 4 hours of TV every day. 4 hours. That's a part-time job spent consuming instead of building. But here's where it gets really deep. Your brain is not designed to build wealth. Let me say that again. Your brain is not designed to build wealth. It's designed for survival. And in survival mode, you take what you can get right now. That's why you spend the tax refund instead of investing it. That's why you swipe the credit card for something you don't need. Psychologists call it present bias. You choose the small reward today over the massive reward tomorrow. A $5 latte now over $50,000 in retirement savings later. It makes no logical sense, but it's not about logic. It's about the chemical hit your brain gets from instant gratification. And then there's loss aversion. Studies show that losing $100 feels twice as painful as gaining $100 feels good. Twice as painful. So what do people do? They keep their money in a savings account. Safe, they think, while inflation silently eats it alive. Every year, every month, every day. You're losing money by doing nothing. And the tax refund? People blow it. Why? Mental accounting. Your brain treats found money differently than earned money. It feels like extra, like a bonus, like it doesn't really count. So you spend it on a weekend trip or a new TV instead of investing it. The wealthy see every dollar the same way. Every dollar is a soldier. Put it to work. Now, let's talk about your circle, because this one might sting. Look at the 5 people you spend the most time with. Are they talking about opportunities, or are they talking about problems? Are they building something, or are they complaining about everything? Research shows that wealthy people spend at least 5 hours a month on networking. Not small talk, not happy hour, intentional relationship building with people who know things they don't. Because here's what sociologist Mark Granovitzer discovered. Your close friends can't give you information you don't already have. They're in the same world as you. The opportunities, the job leads, the investment ideas, the introductions that change your life, those come from weak ties. The person you met once at a conference, the contact you haven't spoken to in a year. Your network is your net worth, and most people are networking down. Here's something nobody talks about. Poverty doesn't just affect your bank account, it affects your decision-making. When the gap between where you are and where you want to be feels impossible, your brain goes to extremes. That's why people buy lottery tickets. Not because they're foolish, but because when the logical path feels completely closed, you gamble on a miracle. And that gamble keeps you broke. The lottery is taxed, the get-rich-quick scheme is a scam, the crypto tip from a stranger online is designed to take what little you have left. But here's the thing I need you to hear. Where you grew up is not your destiny. The neighborhood, the family, the circumstances, none of it determines your outcome. What determines your outcome is what you decide to do starting today. Warren Buffett spends 80% of his day reading. He said knowledge compounds just like interest. Every book, every article, every lesson from a failure, it all stacks, slowly, invisibly, until one day it's worth more than anything else you own. Here's the deepest truth of all. Wealth is not what you see. Morgan Housel said it best. Wealth is what you don't spend. The guy in the Ferrari, he might be $800 a month in debt just to drive it. The quiet person in the used car, they might own 4 rental properties you'll never know about. Real wealth is invisible. It's the account nobody sees, the investment made years ago, the choice to say no when everyone else said yes. Compound interest is the greatest weapon a patient person has. Not the smartest, not the luckiest, the most patient. Time is the variable that matters most, not how much you invest, when you start. Every year you wait costs you more than you think. Every dollar you blow on something you'll forget in a week is a dollar that could have become 10 or 100 or more. So, let me ask you something. What are you doing with your time? What are you doing with your money? What are you building? The gap between rich and broke isn't education. It's not income. It's not luck. It's the decision you make every single morning when you wake up. It's whether you pick up your phone and scroll for an hour or open a book for 30 minutes. It's whether you swipe the card for something that feels good now or transfer it to an account that will change your life. Change one habit, just one. Start there, because the person who controls their behavior controls their future, and the future is still yours to build.